time. In this making, we will set up the 4 motors in its proper rotation. Then, we will set up the flight modes and arm switch. We will also calibrate the gyro sensors. Finally, we will assemble the fuselage, fin can, control unit together and try to fly it for the first time even without the VTX yet. Motor rotation setup. Step 1. To know if the rotation of motors is right, we should base it on this diagram. Motor 4 and motor 1 will rotate clockwise and counterclockwise for motor 2 and motor 3. Mark your front direction between motor 4 and motor 2. This direction should be the same in Betaflight setup page. Step 2. Tape the 4 motors to know its rotational direction during the test. Step 3. Connect the flight controller to Betaflight using USB. Then go to Motors page in Betaflight. You will see that the quadcopter model is in Quad X. Step 4. Below is the ESC motor protocol. Choose DShot 150, DShot 300 or DShot 600. Then save and reboot. Step 5. After rebooting, go back to Motors page. Test if all the motors are working and if the rotation is going to the right direction. Plug in the battery. Warning! To avoid injury, make sure that the propellers are not attached to the motors. In Betaflight Motors page, turn on the motor test mode. To test all 4 motors, gently move the master switch. When you move the master slide switch, the 4 motors should rotate. To test motor one by one, you can slide the individual slide switch. Then, check the rotation of the motor if the same with the diagram. If the rotation of the motor is wrong, exchange the soldering of 2 side wires of the motor. Then, test it again until you have the right rotation for all the motors. After the test, turn off the motor test mode. Mode setup. What is arm switch? To take off this rocket, this should be armed first. Once it's armed, the motors will start to spin. We will assign aux2 switch to arm this rocket. For safety arming, using aux2 switch, yaw sticks will disable arming when it's up, and it will enable arming when the throttle is down. Make sure that the switch on the channel mixer are all in the right position. Up for AIL or aileron, down for ELE or elevon, up for THR or throttle, and down for RUD or rudder. That will correct the movements of the joysticks. Step 1. Go to Modes page, get your radio controller and switch it on. In this page, we will only use arm and angle. Step 2. To set the arming switch, click Add Range. For arm, set the switch to auto. Then move the aux2 switch from radio controller to appear in the assigned switch in Betaflight. When you push the aux2 switch, it will appear in the assigned switch and the switch indicator will move. Step 3. Adjust the switch range by moving and adjusting the slider. Set enough range from the point where the switch indicator is located. Step 4. We will use angle mode only in this project. What is angle mode? Angle mode enables the rocket to balance itself. It will self-level using both accelerometer or ACC and gyro. Self-level mode is easier to fly for this project and for any UAV. To enable the angle mode, click the range angle, set the switch to auto, then move aux2 switch from the radio controller. The same switch for arming switch. aux2 switch will appear in the assigned switch. Step 5. Adjust the switch range by moving and adjusting the slider. Set enough range from the point where the switch indicator is located. Step 6. Save it before leaving the page. Step 7. Go to Setup page to calibrate the correct level of rocket. Place the rocket control unit in a leveled surface. Make sure that the surface is flat and leveled. Step 8. Calibrate the flight controller. Don't move the control unit until the calibration is done. Step 9. Disconnect the flight controller from the Betaflight and remove the USB connector. Step 10. Remove the battery and turn off the radio. Fin can and control unit assembly. Step 1. Attach the fin can and control unit together. Make sure that the motors are in the middle of two fins and landing legs. Step 2. Make two small holes on the side of the fin can going to the control unit. I am using portable drill with a small drill bit to make holes for screw mounting. This will lock the control unit and fin can together. Step 3. Use self-driving screw to lock it. I am using Phillips screwdriver to drive in the screws. Step 4. Attach the 4 propellers to the motors. Make sure that you follow the aerodynamics of the propellers based on the rotation of the motor. Propellers of motor 4 and motor 1 should be identical, and propellers for motor 3 and motor 2 is the same. It is a pusher rocket. Make sure that the rotation of the propeller creates thrust, pushing the rocket up. If the orientation of the propellers is wrong, it will not create thrust. Instead, it will pull the rocket down. That's why the orientation of the rocket motor and propellers should match to create thrust, pushing the rocket up. Step 5. Power on the rocket using LiPo battery. Place the battery inside the fin can gently. Step 6. Place the rocket on a flat surface and position it facing the same direction as you do. Step 7. Power on the radio controller. Push the throttle down, then push the arm switch. After arming, the motor should spin. Step 8. Then push throttle up slowly to push the rocket up. Make little movements for yaw, roll, and pitch to balance the rocket ascending. Step 9. Land it slowly by decreasing the throttle down. Alright, this part of making is done. There is the last one left that we need to finish for the next video, and that is the VTX installation and setup. Making time. VTX connection. In this making, we are going to connect the basic connection of VTX to the flight controller. Then we will attach the camera to the fuselage and assemble the whole rocket. Finally, we will try to fly it with finished build. What is VTX? VTX is a video transmitter device that transmits the real-time images or videos and data from the rocket and send it to VRX or receiver screen. This will help you know what is happening with the rocket. There is also an advanced setup for this VTX, which enable you to access OSD in Betaflight, which I will not tackle in this video. Let's start making. Step 1. Connect the wire of the VTX to the male extension cord. Strip all the wires around 10 mm. Then insert the shrinkable tube to each wire. This shrinkable tube will cover the wire later after soldering. Step 2. Tie the wire together. Follow the wiring diagram. Black wire for ground and red wire for 5 volts DC in and yellow for green wire smart audio. Step 3. Solder the wire gently to make the connection stronger. Step 4. Move the shrinkable tube of the wire connection to cover the exposed conductor. Use lighter to shrink the tube. Step 5. Stick the camera holder to the fuselage using 502 glue. Place it near the nose of the rocket. Make holes from the camera holder to the fuselage using portable grill. Then screw the camera holder using a self-driving screw to make it stronger. Step 6. Mount the camera to the camera holder. Make a small canal for the wire passage on the fuselage. You can use soldering iron to make a small passage for the wire. Then, place all the wire gently to it, including antenna. Place the head of the antenna outside the fuselage so that there will no blockage on the signal. Step 7. Stick the nose of the fuselage to cover the VTX. Use 502 glue to stick the nose to the fuselage. Step 8. Connect the VTX to the flight controller. Make sure that you plug it correctly. Step 9. Plug in the battery. Then get your VRX or video receiver. Power it up and you will see that there is no image on the video. Press the search button and it will search automatically the VTX signal. Then you will see that the image from the VTX camera will appear.
Step 10. Place now the battery inside the fuselage and cover it. Then try to fly it and look if the video transmission is normal. You can design your rocket before you fly it. Make sure that your battery is fully charged before flying. You are also responsible to know the rules and laws in flying UAV. Make sure that before you fly, there are no people around you. When you fly the rocket, push the throttle slowly and balance it with yaw, pitch, and roll. Make a small movements only to the joysticks. Make sure that the orientation of the rocket is facing the same as you. For the next video, I will teach and show how to control this rocket safely.
Take on the world.